In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 basic settings that you need to understand in order to use the KISSlicer program that comes installed on your FM1 3D printer. KISSlicer is a program that takes STL design files and converts them into G-code files that can be printed with the FM1. It is really important to know how to properly change the KISSlicer settings because creating G-code files with the wrong settings will result in failed prints and could even result in damage to your printer. So I'm going to open up the KISSlicer program and I'll go through each of the 3 settings that I'm referring to, and I'll explain what effect they will have on your G-code file when you change them. So here we have the layout of the KISSlicer program, and as you can see there are lots of settings here, making it a bit confusing at first. The thing to remember is that all of these settings have a default value that will change with the printing style and the filament type that you choose. So don't let it overwhelm you when you look at all the options here. The 3 things I'll go over in this video will be all you need to know to start getting successful prints from your FM1 3D printer. When opening an STL file in KISSlicer, the first setting that you'll want to change is the filament type. You can find this setting by clicking on this tab titled Printer, and then coming down into this new area that opens up and clicking on the tab titled Extruders. In here you'll find an Extruder 1 and Extruder 2 setting, each with a drop-down menu containing a list of filament types. You will want to change both the Extruder 1 and Extruder 2 settings to the type of filament that you plan to use on your print. It is important to change both even though the FM1 only has a single extruder. This has an effect on the way KISSlicer creates your G-code file. So let's say we're doing a print in ABS filament. To have a G-code file programmed to be printed with ABS, I'll click into each of these drop-down menus and change the setting to say ABS. And that is all you have to do to set the filament type for your G-code file. The next group of settings that we'll talk about both affect the style of your print. To find these settings, you can click on the tab titled Style all the way to the left side of the list of tabs here. And in here you'll see that there's another drop-down menu at the top of the page. This drop-down menu is the only thing that you need to worry about changing in order to get the style of print that you want. When you click into the drop-down menu, you will see that there are a lot of choices and they all start with the words coarse, medium, or fine. We'll worry about this first and then we'll talk about the stuff on the right side of the comma here. What these 3 words refer to is the layer thickness setting, meaning the vertical thickness of each layer as the nozzle moves up away from the bed during a print. Coarse is the thickest layer setting and fine is the thinnest. Keep in mind that a thinner layer thickness setting means a much longer print, so a G-code file with a medium setting will take longer than one with a coarse setting, and a G-code file with a fine layer thickness setting will take longer than one with a medium or a coarse setting. You'll often have to experiment with this to find what is best for your print. And the other setting to be chosen within the Style drop-down menu is the infill of your printed part. This is represented by the 4 choices on the right side of the comma, which are solid, medium, low, and hollow. The infill setting will affect the internal structure of your printed part that you can't see beneath the outer shape of the design. Solid will of course result in a completely solid object, but this is not always ideal because of the amount of time and filament that will be used. A hollow object will be an outer shell with nothing inside of it. This is not often useful because it provides no support for the upper layers of your print and will often result in a print caving in on itself. In order to provide support for the upper layers of a design without having to use up the time and filament of a solid object, you have the medium and the low settings. For both of these, a patterned design is used to provide a strong base for the object's skin as it prints. A medium infill setting will use a tighter pattern than a low infill setting. It's good to experiment with these settings to suit each individual design, because sometimes a certain infill will work best with a particular design. Okay, so that's all there is to the 3 basic settings of KISSlicer that we'll go over in this video. Understanding them and experimenting with the different styles will provide you with successful prints, and will also get you familiar with your FM1 3D printer. Once you've chosen values for the 3 settings, there's only one final step, and that is to create a G-code file that can be printed with the Fabricator program. To do this, all you have to do is go up to the right-hand corner of the KISSlicer window and click on the button that says Slice. You'll be prompted with a window asking where you would like to save the G-code file. I'll often save them to the desktop so that they're easy to find. Once you choose a location, click on the button that says Save, and then KISSlicer will set about slicing your part. When it's done, a G-code file, which can be printed with your FM1, is saved in the location that you chose. When KISSlicer has finished, you will see that values appear in this small white box on the right side of the window. The bottommost value will tell you the time your part will take to print, and the topmost value represents the amount of filament your part will use in centimeters cubed. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that it was helpful. Always feel free to leave questions in the comments or contact us with any issues that you may run into.